Welcome back to Last Week I Watched. I'm Mark and I watch things and review them so you can decide whether or not they're worth your time and whether or not they're worth you watching. This week I've still got some odds and sods from the horror thing. I think the Netflix app has got it into its head because I've been watching a lot of horror movies for Halloween that all I want to watch is horror movies. So I'm still getting a few of those suggested, but I'm starting to break the selection up a little bit. So, last week I watched Jigsaw. This is from 2017, it's a recent one. Bad Times at the Royale, Cosmic Sin, The Legend of Zorro, Army of Thieves, and Norsemen, which is a TV series. Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, first up is Jigsaw. It's a movie from 2017. It stars Matt Passmore, Callum Keith Rennie, and Tobin Bell. It was showing on Netflix, and excuse me, the movie's about the apparent reappearance of Jigsaw. He's been missing for over a decade and is believed dead, but once the murders start up again, questions exist as to whether or not he has returned or whether it's just another copycat. The movie's good, actually. I was quite surprised. I sort of drifted away from the series a little bit. I really enjoyed Saw, the first one, but then the series kind of descended into torture porn, where it was more about just brutally murdering people than any kind of real actual story. So I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that this one kind of went back to the story first and foremost. There are still traps, but they're kind of not as, I guess, gruesome, and yeah, I think some of the other series became sort of singularly about the traps and being really gory and gross, and there are still some moments of but overall I thought it was better. It sort of leans more towards the story this time, and story is king. I mean, that's where it's at. Yeah, the traps are good, less gory, but you know, still things involving circular saws and bits being chopped off and whatnot. And there's a bit of a mystery and a twist central to the story as well. It's good. I recommend it. Check it out. Okay, next was Bad Times at the Royale. I didn't know much about this going in, but I knew it had Jeff Bridges in it, Cynthia Erivo, and John Hamm. I watched this on Disney Plus. Yeah, it looked like something that I was curious to watch, so I checked it out. It's about four strangers that check into the El Royale Hotel. It's a weird little hotel that straddles the border between two states, and they have various different motivations and reasons for being there that will gradually unravel over the course of the night as the various reasons for being there collide. It's very good. It's a period piece. It's set around 1969. It's a crime story. I liked that it worked in with sort of historical figures. It sort of, I think, suggests that perhaps some of the shenanigans may have been caught up with John F. Kennedy. It's got shades of sort of a Quentin Tarantino-esque type of thing, I guess, a bit similar to Pulp Fiction, maybe sort of an Agatha Christie type of story where, you know, multiple strangers, murders and things occur, and crime and whatnot. It's very good. As it jumps back and forth through the story, gradually unravels different parts of the protagonist's stories and how they kind of overlap. So it does move around a bit in a sort of Pulp Fiction-esque kind of way as well. I thought it was really good. I highly recommend it. I think it's worth a watch. You should definitely check it out. Give it a look. Next film was Cosmic Sin. Yeah, this is from 2021. It stars Bruce Willis and Frank Grillo. What can I say? This film was terrible. It's really bad. And again, I think the primary problem with this movie is the story is bad. I mean, you can have poor special effects or whatever, but if you haven't got a decent story in there, then you've got nothing really. The movie, from what I can follow, basically follows some kind of Earth outpost, gets attacked by some sort of aliens. The aliens are a bit murky. At some point you see sort of something with face tentacles, but then they seem to take over other humans, so zombies? I don't really know, but in the very, very short space of time, we immediately go to Earth and it's, well, no, we've got to kill them. We don't negotiate, we don't talk, we don't try and see if there was a misunderstanding or anything. We just kill them. That's all we do. We're going to take a Q-bomb out there and we're just going to nuke them flat. Because, you know, I guess that's the sort of right-wing politics they have in this universe. Shoot first and kill everything and don't sort it out. Just be the alpha dog. It's terrible. As I said, it's really bad. They recruit Bruce Willis's character. He's in trouble because he's previously gone out and nuked a civilization, a group, a planet, something with a Q-bomb, but he nuked them and then was, you know, harshly looked upon. So, I don't even understand what point this story is trying to make. Is it trying to say that nuking a civilization is bad, but we're going to go and do it again? Or, no, it was completely justified? I just don't understand. What are you trying to say with this? Bruce Willis, for his part, I honestly don't know why he's there. I think probably since the last Die Hard movie, or last couple of Die Hard movies he did, he's really just not... I don't think he wants to act anymore. He's not interested in being there. I've heard the stories from his behaviours in Cop Out from Kevin Smith, and he doesn't seem to act. He doesn't seem to want to be there. There's no emotion. It's like it's being delivered by an animatronic. So, and to be fair to him, the story's bad and the dialogue is bad, and I don't think there's much he could do to save it either, but I really don't know why he's doing this film if he knew it was bad. Maybe he needed a new holiday home or something to pay for. Inexplicably, he seems to be making a string more movies with this particular director. So, and if this is the effort that this director made, who was also a writer, so I'm afraid I have to heap some of the blame on that to him, then you've really got to wonder how good these subsequent films are going to be. I don't know, has Bruce Willis's career gone to the toilet so much now that this is the best he can do? He's just trying to take work. Frank Grillo's barely in it as well. Again, why? I don't know. There doesn't seem to be a lot of cast, and I think for something that's set on a military base as well, you're expecting like there would be personnel, there should be plenty of background people, there should be military-esque dressing. None of that's there. Most of the time it's like a few guys in an empty warehouse, spouting terrible dialogue at each other, eventually leading them to fire a Q-bomb and wipe out the civilization, and then we all go home for a drink. It's bad. I can't find anything nice to say about it. Well, I suppose if I had to really dig deep, there are some nice effects, but they're pretty few and far between, really. I mean, you can tell where they spent the money on this, and even then, it still wasn't really enough. It's just really some space shots. Other than that, terrible. Don't bother with this. It really is a dreadful film. I think Rotten Tomatoes has it down as one of the worst films of 2021, and I can't dispute that. It is bad. It's irredeemably bad. Okay, so yeah, well, it's that bad. Alright, so the next film was The Legend of Zorro. It was from 2005, starred Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Rufus Sewell. I watched it on Netflix. Zorro returns to fight for California to ensure that they join the States, I guess, as the America is forming the United States. And some of the, I guess, European monarchy or something like that have other ideas about that and seek to foil it. So Zorro is fighting to defeat their plans and, guarantee freedom and liberty for the people of California. So it's pretty good. It's a fun film. It's sort of Indiana Jones-esque, or any of those kinds of swashbuckling, Pirates of the Caribbean kind of things. It's a period piece. There's some good fights, some good action pieces. There's a bit of comedy. Particular note is the comedy horse that he has a few fun scenes with. The horse only accepts instructions in Mexican, not English. So that's a bit interesting when he's yelling at it in English and it doesn't respond. It's fun. It is what it is. So I recommend that if you're looking for something a bit easy to put on, you just want a little bit of action, bit of comedy, check it out. Okay, the next on the list was Army of Thieves. It's a movie from 2021. It was on Netflix. This is a prequel to Army of the Dead. And this one follows the safecracker character from the last film. And it's basically his prequel story of how he ended up to end up in the heist in Las Vegas. So we follow back when he's recruited from a safecracking competition to crack they said there's big 4 safes in a sequence of safes that are themed around Ring of the Nibelung. And so he wants to crack these safes. They really only deal with 3 in this film, because the 4th one is in Army of the Dead in Las Vegas. So I found that was a little odd. It's like, we're going to go out and crack them all, but we're not going to crack the last one. And I think they alluded to they didn't know where it was. But then all the safes are owned by the same guy anyway. So anyway, so we follow him. He gets another crew. They recruit him. They interestingly enough don't seem to be interested in the contents of the safe, because they break into them and they only really take a little bit of the money and leave like huge mounds of money and that. So that's strange for a heist film. But it's okay. I did like the character. I don't know if there was enough there to really drag the film out to full length. I don't know, do we really need to see prequels or side stories about all of the characters, I guess, from that film? So it's a bit of an odd duck, really. It's got a very European feel to it. And there's some great shots inside the safes with the mechanisms and things like that are really good. Some good effects work and things like that. But the heists themselves, I often feel like they're quite rushed through, and they weren't properly utilized for the maximum amount of action and things that they could get out of it. And some of the team members seemed a bit redundant. I mean, the driver didn't really do anything. He literally just drove the van, but I mean, there was no real driving chase sequences or anything really for the hacker much to do, or it was a couple of good fight sequences, but it was predominantly him breaking into safes and the girl he was with maybe having a bit of a beat on. So it's an odd one. It's okay. I didn't enjoy it as much as Army of the Dead, if I'm honest, and I think there was kind of a missed opportunity too. He could have. I'm going to spoil slightly here for a second, so if you want to skip over, feel free. But basically, when he brought down the 3 safes, and they are owned by the same guy whose features in the other film, the Japanese businessman, they could have revealed and said, well, we got you to crack these 3 safes as an audition because we now want you to go and hit the 4th safe. But they didn't really sort of seem to do that, so I think maybe some things might have helped tie it together a little bit. And because there was a gap between me watching the last film and this film as well, I kind of forgotten the last film a little bit, so it was like, the connections weren't there. So yeah, it's an odd duck, but if you want to check it out, it's not dreadful. It's certainly not cosmic sin, but yeah, it's okay. It's middling, I guess, would be the best way to put it. Okay, now finally, the last one we watched was Norsemen. It's from 2016. It was on Netflix. It's Norwegian, but it's in English, and I apologise if I butcher the names, but some of the people in it is Kara Conradi, Nils Jørgen Karlstad, and John Øygarden, and Silji Torp. Using my best IKEA translator there. So, basically, it follows a village of Vikings at the close of the 8th century. They do what they do. They go out and raid and pillage and rape and steal and yeah, it's kind of a sitcom-y type comedy sort of thing around that and around their culture and what they do. And there are some story threads that run in there where they're having a rivalry with another village and another leader, and they've got quite a slimy guy in the village that's somehow inexplicably keeps elevating himself to power, but he's sort of grossly insecure and clingy and a bit useless. Yeah, it's good fun. I recommend it. It's a bit quirky. It is occasionally a bit gory, so it's not one for the kiddies, so I warn you there. There are 3 seasons that I've seen so far. Narratively, I found it a little confusing in that Season 1, Season 2 kind of follow on from each other. Season 3 then jumps back post to Season 1, which sort of made you feel like, well, why didn't they do Season 1 but Season 3 first? But anyway, that's confusing. But I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to hopefully another season of it when it reappears again. They do mostly talk in English, but there is a slight Norwegian accent there, so you may want to turn on subtitles just in case it's hard to catch sometimes what they're saying or whatever. That's what I watched. I hope some of those suggestions give you some ideas for things to check out. As always, if you want to leave any comments, leave them below. Let me know what you think, or if you have any suggestions for things that are worth watching. And click on the like and the subscribe button to get the next video. And I'll see you next time for more suggestions on things to watch. Thanks for checking me out. Bye now.